it is a big day in Canberra. It is the final sitting day of the year. The House is going to sit tomorrow just as a formality to deal with the bills that have gone to the Senate and need to go back to the House. 36 bills in total. Live to our political editor, Andrew Clonell, now in Canberra. Andrew, a few strange things go on in the last sitting week of Parliament for the year, and this week is no different. What's been going on there?
Well, the Prime Minister's been feverishly calling crossbenchers overnight to try and reach a deal on some of these pieces of legislation, I can reveal, Laura, and that includes a future made in Australia. And a senior government source said to me that the prospects of the future made in Australia bill are looking good but not certain. In the last few minutes in the Senate, Laura, Fatima Payman and the Greens have voted against a motion by Jackie Lambie to attempt to stop a guillotine that the government is attempting to introduce to have 36 bills voted on without debate today in the Senate. And because the vote was drawn, Jackie Lambie's motion was unsuccessful. So it appears there have been discussions between either the Prime Minister or his people with Fatima Payman and potentially the Greens with some sort of deals on all these sorts of matters. I know Jackie Lambie, I've been told, received a call from the Prime Minister as well. I think we can assume David Pocock did as well. I cannot get to the bottom of what this deal with Fatima Payman is. I have simply been told by a source that she stands by her convictions on various matters. I don't know if she's being offered an extra staff member or some form of policy or you know, whether she's doing it out of the goodness of her heart, which I very much doubt in this place, Laura. But what I can tell you and can reveal this morning is the Prime Minister has been calling crossbenchers overnight, and that looks like it is a successful venture at the very least in terms of guillotining 36 bills today through the Senate, and it may be a successful venture in terms of the passage of the Future Made in Australia legislation.
Wow, very interesting indeed. And just to drive this story home for a moment, Andrew, for the Prime Minister to be personally calling and doing these deals with Senate crossbenchers is quite unusual, isn't it?
It's not unheard of, but it would usually occur, say, a meeting between him and David Pocock. I recall there was over the net zero legislation, a piece of legislation which is of a big importance, I guess. There'll be a meeting then, but there'll be weeks of lead up to that. What is unusual is this kind of last night calling around in a bid to have a successful end to the year. Now, some people, especially in the opposition, are looking at rushing these bills through as, there must be an election in March. I don't take that view. My view is that, again, the government is probably looking to go around early May or mid-May. But what they want to do next year, Laura, is have their second term agenda front and centre. So they want to deal with the first term agenda now, close off the week with that, try and get as much of their legislation through, and then they're going to switch next year through a budget to an election to a second term agenda. And we know things on the table there will be changes to Medicare, changes beneficial to people in terms of childcare.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk election timing because everyone is interested in this. There was a bit of a Freudian slip, I think, or a telling slip from the Prime Minister when you interviewed him last, suggesting perhaps May. But they're certainly clearing the decks, aren't they? They're giving themselves the opportunity for early March, do you think?
I don't think there'll be an election in March. I mean, you would just annoy too many people in Western Australia. It's a very parochial state. There's 4 or 5 seats up for grabs there for Labor. They need to win them. If you move their election, the whole of WA is going to give you the bird, having grown up in WA. Look, I haven't lived there for 28 years, but I spent enough time there to know WA's attitude to the East Coast. And I think that would be electoral suicide. And so I think, while you get a budget deficit, not a surplus, which won't be an ideal narrative, there'll be an opportunity for cost of living relief in there, which could assist you win an election in May. Now, the last time that they had a decent bump in their primary vote, Labor, to 34 was after the budget, after that electricity bill relief and other measures in the budget. And they also had a little bump after the stage 3 tax cuts rejig announcement. So what they will be banking on, Labor strategists, in my view, Laura, will be cost of living relief in the budget, perhaps the Sunday after the budget, call the election. And we know the budget is slated for March 25. But they will have noted, in fact, I know they've noted, that if you have that cost of living relief announcement, in the couple of weeks, few weeks after that, you get a little bump. And in a tight election, that little bump helps massively.
Well, you can't take the boy out of Perth. Andrew, I believe you. Thanks so much. Absolutely. We'll see you soon.